Welcome to today's True Factor, where we do headlines with an attitude. All right, guys, this is really probably going to be more about a rant than it is probably going to be informative. But there's just so much stuff that's been taking place, and I'm gonna let y'all have it today. Um, there are a couple of updates, so we'll get them out of the way before I get into my good old rant. So just if you don't want to stick around for that, I don't blame you. But I have got to vent, and y'all gonna hear it. Hello, how are you, Miss Helen? Glad to see you, sister. Glad to see you. Okay, so every article that we have today is in the Wixit today, in the description in the box below, guys. So for those of you, I don't always necessarily read all the articles, but I read a good bit of it, especially if I'm in a hurry. I'm not in a hurry right now, but I want to really kind of just, I guess we're going to start right here, guys, and then we'll get we'll get a little bit further into it. Let me mute this here. We need to. All right, flash. Israel recalls diplomats from Turkey. Okay, so after Israel commenced what is called an expanded ground operation in the Gaza Strip yesterday, daylight is showing the horrifying results. Social media is ablaze with information and video. Body parts are everywhere from airstrikes. We begin with 21 brief seconds of before and after video showing vast entire neighborhoods of Gaza obliterated by Israeli airstrikes. Well, I guess this is before and this is after. Below is a brief video of sunrise this morning in Gaza. The sounds of gunfire and heavier weapons fire is clearly evident in the distance. We have to go. I'm not going to play it because, guys, I have to go back and change it. We might play it later, just not right now. Israel claims they are attacking Hamas, and yet up towards of 100,000 housing units have been destroyed. Is the world to believe there are that many Hamas targets, or would it be more appropriate to call this what it actually is, forced displacement? David Icke sums it up succinctly: one giant satanic sacrifice. And here is what David Icke says. Amazing how they claimed the intel to target Hamas operatives, but had no idea the attack on Israel was planned. It was allowed to happen. Israeli civilians sacrificed, and now Gaza civilians sacrificed. It is one mass satanic sacrifice, as all wars are. And that's from David Icke. Then we have the Israeli Defense Force releases a video of their operation shown below. How can 2.3 million civilians in Gaza defend themselves against this? We'll watch. Not so much we care about what they're saying right now, I guess. Anyway, according to the Palestinian Health Ministry, the Palestinian death toll from Israeli attacks in Gaza climbs to 7,703, including 3,595 children, 19,734 others injured, Health Ministry said. That is just horrible. So many children, guys. But it is very clear there are countless more people buried in the rubble. These numbers are likely to skyrocket. The airstrikes are continuing this morning, Saturday, 28th of October, 2023. The morning there are already red alerts in Tel Aviv because more missiles have been launched by Hamas. The bloodshed continues unabated. Update at 9:39. Iran's Tansin news agency, citing a source, claims 5,000 U.S. troops participated in yesterday's entry into Gaza. When asked about such claims in a telephone call last night, the Pentagon press office replied, no comment at this time. The IDF is once again urging people living in the northern Gaza to leave immediately. In London and many other places around the world, tens of thousands of citizens are taking to the streets to protest Israeli actions and to show their support of Palestinians. That's a lot of people, guys, in London. In Paris, tens of thousands of people are rallying for the Palestinians. In Turkey, President Recep Erdogan personally attended an utterly massive rally in support of the Palestinians. Also, this morning, a statement from the Palestinian Islamic Jihad, one of the combatants. The Israeli forces received painful strikes last night from our fighters present at the point of advance on the outskirts of the eastern Gaza. The enemy's display of firepower enabled their forces to advance only a limited numbers of meters, not exceeding 100 meters, and they erected dirt barriers to protect their soldiers from the strikes of our fighters. The enemy forces that tried to advance at some point east of Gaza retreated back under fire and clashed with our fighters in the field. The enemy's exaggeration of the ground incursion into the Gaza Strip comes within framework of its bankruptcy of achieving any image of victory in front of its internal front. It is a lie that the enemy constantly peddles. Then update at 10 a.m. This map shows accurately reflects yesterday's action by the IDF as it made entry into the Gaza Strip. And guys, this is the name of the areas, I guess. Gaza civilian officials says that there are hundreds of buildings and houses were completely destroyed overnight. Then update at 3:26. The sounds of fierce fighting coming from Gaza Strip have been unrelenting for hours. A mix of artillery fire and tanks and airstrikes, but with the phone and internet services out in the Gaza Strip, it is impossible to know exactly what is happening there. Some information is getting out. The Turkey President Erdogan tells Palestinians our Mohammedan army will come one night by surprise to support the people of Gaza. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu says the second stage of the war has begun. Shock. Israelis in Tel Aviv take to the streets, calling for an end to the bombing of the Gaza Strip. Thousands of protesters fear that Israeli aggression could lead to the destruction of the state. Carrier-based American aircraft over Gaza Strip. An American patrol aircraft that took off from the aircraft carrier is patrolling the southern Gaza Strip. With the internet cut in all of the Gaza, Elon Musk said he will turn on his Starlink system only to registered and recognized relief organizations to restore their internet access. In response, Israel's Minister of Communications says the country will immediately sever all ties with Starlink. He then went further. We will use available means to prevent Elon Musk from providing relief organizations in Gaza with the internet. House remarks, why does Israel want to halt the flow of information about what's going on in Gaza? War crimes, maybe. And I have to, I'm curious, why can't they have, at least for the relief organizations, why can't they have it? But I guess if it's a complete war zone, then, and they've been warned to get out, I guess they, I don't know. Anyway, and I believe they said that if anybody stayed, they were considered war terrorists, right? So I don't know. Anyway, a near total communication blackout has impacted the work of medical staff in Gaza, with paramedics unable to reach the injured and hospitals unable to contact each other. More, Israeli recalling diplomats from Turkey. Given the statements coming from Turkey, I have ordered the return of diplomatic representatives therein and order a conduct of reevaluation of the relations between Israel and Turkey. And the United Arab Emirates condemns Israeli invasion. The UAE condemns the Israeli ground operations in Gaza. Update at 6:14 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. It's about 30 minutes ago, guys. 30 minutes ago. After reporting above, the Israeli is recalling its diplomats from Turkey. I can now not only confirm that report, but add the Israeli Minister of Security tonight said Erdogan is the greatest enemy of the Jewish people. He will never be our friend. Normalization between Israel and Turkey is over. And then there was an update, but for just his subscribers at 6:20. So I think we can tell that those communications definitely have been severed there, guys. I don't think anybody's shocked by that. Hello, Jesus is my King. How are you? And Watchmen and Rhodey, how are you guys? They probably are, exactly, Watchman. You had to put your helmet on. I hear you. I hear you. That tinfoil hat wearing, right? Got your tinfoil hat on? I hope so. Because we're a bunch of tinfoil hat wearing people here. That's all we got. That's all we do. Sit around, thinking up stuff. Yes, indeed. Anyway, from War News 247, IDF's first major operation, the Israeli ground forces enters the north and central Gaza, fierce fighting with Hamas, 150 targets hit. Heavy fighting is taking place between Israeli forces and Hamas fighters in the central and northern Gaza. Israeli Palestinians are reportedly fighting in the area near Beit Hanun, east of Maghazi in central Gaza. Gunfire, tanks, artillery, and airstrikes are heard. We're going to just kind of get the bold italic. There are clashes in Burjah, Jural, Dik, and Beit Lahi areas. Guys, I'm slaughtering these names. I apologize. Here's that same map that Hal had. Here's another one. Kind of a different map, but same kind of thing, I think. Israel's military announced that it hit 150 underground targets in the northern Gaza Strip overnight, Friday into Saturday. That's a lot of underground targets, guys. It says the Air Force just broke a record this morning. It just flew over 200 fighter jets flying over Gaza, destroyed 150 tunnels. That's the tweet. Last night's bombardment by Israeli forces from land, sea, and air was the worst since the beginning of the war in 3 weeks and put a new phase in the war between Israeli army and Hamas. According to them, the shelling was continuous in the eastern part of the Strip, mainly in the northern Gaza area from Jabali to Beit Lahia and Beit Laham, but also in the east of Deir el Bahala, in the center of Gaza Strip, and Khan Yunis in south. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I guess that's going to be it, guys. All right. Of course, there was more in there. You know, sometimes I don't read all of the italic. I think we can see from Hal Turner and them pretty much where their ground attack was. All right. Here is from the Gateway Pundit. Remember, we mentioned the little Turkey situation that Israel and Turkey is kind of, their relations have evaporated. Guys, yeah, this is just, the sea of people here is just crazy. It says, I'm asking the West, do you want to create another crusader war atmosphere? Turkish President Erdogan warns of a full-scale war during a massive protest in video in Turkey. So let's see if we can listen to the video, guys. I don't know. Huge crowd. We're probably not going to, he's not going to speak English, so we won't listen to it, but we'll read it. Thousands gathered in Istanbul on Saturday for what was touted as the Great Palestine Meeting. The event was a pro-Palestine rally aimed at condemning Israel's recent military action. Hamas terrorists were responsible for a deadly attack that claimed 1,400 Jews in southern Israel. One must ask the question, what did people expect Israel to do in response? Not retaliate? When an entity like Hamas, designated as a terrorist organization by the United States, the European Union, and Israel, engages in violent acts aimed at killing civilians, it is not only Israel's right, but also its obligation to defend its citizens. The Israeli Ministry of Defense and the Israeli Defense Forces have issued an urgent warning to the United Nations and its staff and informed Palestinians living north of Wadi Gaza to evacuate within 24 hours of the southern part of the Gaza Strip. In a direct message to the residents of Gaza, the Prime Minister said, leave now because we will operate forcefully everywhere. However, Hamas terrorists urged Palestinians to ignore the Israeli defense urgent evacuation notice for civilians in northern Gaza, labeling it as fake propaganda. These evil people really wanted the civilians to stay and die. The IDF has stated that Hamas deliberately hides military targets in residential buildings and civilian areas, even using children as human shields. Hamas understands that it must present itself as a victor and victim in their war against Israel. They want more Palestinians to die to further their cause and their propaganda. At the Istanbul rally, attendees expressed their outrage over Israel's military action, but conveniently skipped over Hamas' initially deadly assault. There was no concern shown for 220 Jewish hostages being held by Hamas. Erdogan and Turkey stands with Palestine. Turkish President Recep Erdogan attended the protest and spoke to a massive crowd. Today in Istanbul, I congratulate every member of my beloved nation who supports the Palestinian cause and gives hope to the oppressed people of Gaza. We call on all countries to protect the common values of humanity trapped under the rubble in Gaza, along with children, women, and innocent civilians, he wrote on X. That is a lot of people, guys. During his speech, Erdogan said, "We can come at night unexpectedly, a thinly veiled threat that undermines any semblance of diplomatic resolution to the conflict." In response to Erdogan's words, thousands of Turks began chanting Turkish military to Gaza, a sentiment that, if acted upon, could drastically escalate tensions in an already volatile region. Turkey is ready to declare Israel a war criminal. This was stated by Erdogan at a pro-Palestinian rally in Turkey. Israel will also declare you as a war criminal to the world. We are preparing for it, and we will introduce Israel to the world as a war criminal, Erdogan said, addressing the rally at the Ataturk airport, adding Israel is committing war crimes. Excerpt from AA. What was Gaza Palestinian in 1947? What is it today? Israel, how did you get here? How did you enter? You are an occupier. You are an organization, he added. The West owes you, Israel, but Turkey does not. That is why we speak without hesitation. The West Book of Sins has once again overstepped its bounds, he added. I am asking the West, do you want to create another Crusader war atmosphere? He asked, adding, the main culprit behind the massacre unfolding in Gaza in the West. Of course, every country has the right to defend itself, but where is justice? There is no defense, but an open and vicious massacre going on in Gaza. I said in Davos, you know how to kill. They know well how to kill. And then stolen elections in America have consequences across the world. I don't know if he said that, but that's what it looks like. Anyway, kind of crazy. All righty. That was the last comment on that page, isn't it? Really, really, really crazy. Okay. Then we also have here, guys, the U.S. halts exports of most civilian firearms for 90 days. October 27th, the U.S. has stopped issuing export license for most civilian firearms and ammunition for 90 days for all non-governmental users, the Commerce Department said on Friday, citing national security and foreign policy interests. The Commerce Department did not provide further details for the pause, which also includes shotguns and optical sights, but said an urgent review will assess the risk of firearms being diverted to entities or activities that promote regional instability, violate human rights, or fuel criminal activities. So I don't even know what to think about all this, guys. The U.S. has stopped issuing export license for most civilian firearms. So I guess they're not going to export any more firearms. For a minute, the Commerce Department declined to comment beyond the posting on this website. The halt covers most of the guns and ammunition that could be purchased in a U.S. gun store, said. Johanna Reeves, a lawyer who specializes in export controls and firearms with the law firm Reeves and Dalla in Washington. Reeves said she had not seen the Commerce Department take such a sweeping action like this before. For sure, they have individual country policies, but nothing like this, she said. export license for Ukraine and Israel, as well as some other close allies, will be exempted from the temporary halt in exports. Now, see, now that's kind of crazy. You have you're gonna halt your export licensing, or the right basically for to ship out these weapons, except for Ukraine and Israel. That's kind of ironic, anyway. Anyway, U.S. companies that sell firearms, including Sturm, Ruger and Company, Smith and Wesson brands, and Vista Outdoor, could be impacted by export ban. Overseas customers include distributors and stores that sell firearms. Exporters can continue to submit license requests during the pause, but they will be held without action until the pause is lifted. Oh, Lordy. Kind of crazy, isn't it, guys? Things that just don't make any sense. Okay, guys. Now, this is where we might have some trouble here before too long. Let's check in over here, guys. Let's see. Hello, Kelly and Drop. How are you guys? So good to see you. Hello, Walter. How are you, brother? Hello, MG. Hello, hello, hello. Murphy's sleeping. Uh-oh. We'll be saying a prayer for Murphy, brother. All righty. Hope she gets to feeling better. Okay, so we up to the emergency oil meeting discusses potential for diesel outages. The European Union held an emergency meeting on Friday to discuss the potential for diesel supply shocks stemming from the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Now, guys, if you guys did not see this coming, you're not paying attention, right? This is just par the course. And it's probably going to get really kind of crazy if this stuff continues. Just saying. So the EU Commissioner for Energy, Kadri Simpson, called an emergency meeting on Friday to discuss the potential issues should there be diesel supply outage, like strikes and long truck queues waiting for diesel. Oil's important. Not enough diesel could lead to strikes, one European Union official told Reuters. Is this a 1973 moment or not? After the group debated the risk of the diesel shortage, the EU's oil coordination, I hate these stupid things. Oil Coordination Group determined that the risks are much lower than during the 1973 oil embargo, with Europe relying on oil to much lesser extent today than they did decades ago. According to the EU official, Europe only relies on crude oil for about 1/3 of its oil energy mix. OPEC supply cuts, however, are still a concern for the EU, mainly because one of the EU's top crude oil suppliers is OPEC's largest producer, Saudi Arabia. The Middle East route is still a significant importance for Europe. 20 million BP goes through Hormuz. It is a real choke point, the official pointed out. A possible crisis would have immediate impact on price, but it's less a scrutiny of supply risk, though the market is very tight because of OPEC and cuts. Tightness should ease in 2024. The EU currently has 90 days worth of net imports of crude oil, or 61 days of domestic consumption per its requirement, but diesel and gas oil continue to be a risk for the EU. The EU's energy supply situation is still worrisome, without Russia as a main supplier of oil and gas, as in the years before the Ukraine invasion. So, guys, now, again, they kind of say, oh, no, we're not going to have an emergency, yada, yada, yada. But, guys, they hold out. If this thing, it just could get really ugly. I will tell you that I am anticipating there to be some kind of oil crisis because of all this. They seem not to waste any good crisis, right? It can always explode or implode, however you want to look at that. All right, so let's freaking dang on start this rant, guys. I'm just gonna get into it, right? Hold on, I got it already up. All right, so first off, let's I'm gonna go to Fox News, just the actual Fox News thing itself, not on any particular article. I'm gonna go check out CBS because earlier now CBS may have changed by now, but they have indeed. Okay, well, I will stand corrected, guys. Earlier when I checked onto this, okay, I'm gonna go to New York Post, see if they changed to the streets. Okay, so it's changed some, just not at Fox. All right. So earlier, though, I was very aggravated, and I'm still kind of aggravated because, and I'm going to tell you why I'm aggravated. Okay, guys. So last night, before the end of the night, uh, this broke. This here article, I shared this last night. Biden says the U.S. is ready to take further action after striking Iran-linked targets, right? So basically, he wrote to Congress for the war powers. And we have the letter right here from Hal Turner. The Biden sends the war powers notification to U.S. Congress. Here we go. So here he sent the letter. We read this last night, right? Outside of Times of Israel mentioning it, I haven't heard too much of anywhere else. I mean, if you guys have heard it somewhere else, I think that's a pretty big thing. I don't know why nobody else is talking about, the possibility of the war that we're facing. I mean, I know that everybody's been waiting for things to go kind of crazy. But we actually have Biden, might as well say, declaring war because he is, in the essence, seeking the war's power, right? And he can't declare. Congress is the one that can declare war. Now he can do everything that leads you up to it, which he has, right? All the strikes that they've committed over there, and I'm sure that there's a good back and forth going on, but I haven't really heard. Now tell me in the comment section. I'm waiting to hear, guys. Have you guys heard Fox or anybody else talk about this? I mean, to me, this should be kind of front and center versus mass shooters note. I mean, yeah, they have some Israeli stuff down here. But their main concern right now, and this was the mass shooter situation, that was on CBS at one point today. In fact, it is right here. You can see it's like the top one over here, the Maine gunman found dead. So this was trailing earlier here, and then the same thing over here in the New York Post when I was looking at all my articles, guys. This has been what everybody has been focused on today. Is all about that Maine shooter being found dead, and then this one about his note to his loved ones, final movements. I mean, not anything about wanting to get the war powers. I mean, we haven't heard anything from anybody. I'm kind of shocked because I would think that somebody would be responding to this, but we've heard nothing. I've heard nothing. So I don't know what to think of this. I really don't know what to think about it. I'm kind of just really just dumbfounded, because I guess it means nothing. I guess the only thing that matters is, what happened in Maine. And granted, now I'm not to sell short what happened in Maine. That's horrible, guys. Absolutely horrible. Mass tragedy here in our homeland. But also, we have a situation that could be even more grander on a grand scheme of things, is war, right? So I really am kind of at a loss for words here, guys. Yeah, absolutely. You got it. So I'm just curious. I'm looking in the comments here. Just to see if anybody else has heard it anywhere else other than, poor Renee screaming it out and Hal Turner and Times of Israel last night. We covered it last night. I did a prayer video as well as we did a news video right prior to it. And we covered it here last night, but I haven't heard anybody else go crazy about it. I mean, does nobody else care? Anybody else care that, Biden's trying to get war going here? You're checking with your friends in Congress. Thank you, Rhodey. Read up the list on your comment. Okay, drop. I heard that we are your body, or where are the bodies again? Don't believe. Oh, absolutely. Oh, Black Swan. Yep. So they pivot back. I gotcha. Is that the comment that you wanted me to see? Is this one here, buddy? Hey guys. It's Avery says, "Hey guys." So I think it's just absolutely crazy. I mean, the mere fact that I am really just aggravated to no end that nobody else has mentioned this. I mean, to me, this is pretty big. You have the president or the man that's in charge trying to get the War Power Act, which means war, right? But yet nobody is mentioning it. Renee is screaming and screaming and screaming. And yes, we will say that this is a tragedy, guys. I'm not saying it's not. But what I'm saying is we have something else that is on a whole different level that's going to affect millions and millions and millions and millions of people. And nobody's saying anything about it. This is all you see. First it was that he was found. Then it's this love note. And we've had a couple of other little things take place. But guys, I'm just dumbfounded. There's no mention of it anywhere. Not anywhere that I have found. And I have looked at all of these things off and on all day. I mean, I've seen a lovely video about this. I've seen all kinds of crazy stuff today. But still no mention of that. Nobody, nowhere outside of Hal Turner and Times of Israel that gave us confirmation of what Hal Turner had put out. So anyway, I'm just really kind of curious what your thoughts are on this. I mean, I don't know what to think, maybe they didn't say it. Maybe he didn't really do it. Maybe Hal Turner and Times of Israel came up with some kind of plot to make Biden look poor, but then they would make themselves look poor. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. It makes no sense whatsoever. But I guess again, we've got this propaganda machine going, so we've got to be pushing this one narrative, I guess, right now, and it doesn't have anything to do with what is taking place, I guess. I mean, I'm beside myself on this stuff, guys. I really am. I'm sorry to this taking place, but it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It has me so mad. I'm telling you, it's disgusting to think that this man has, got us this far and nobody's talking about it. Nobody's mentioning it whatsoever. Anyway, I'm spitting bullets over here, guys. Spitting bullets. Okay. So and both of these articles that I have referenced are here, guys. Again, just for your viewing pleasure. We covered them last night, but both of them are still here because I have referenced them again today. Now, they have put this out, and I'll have to tell you, I don't think I'm shocked by no means, but kind of early still, and why he's suspending. He doesn't say he's quitting. He just says Mike Pence suspends his presidential campaign. So why are you going to suspend it? To me, that's quitting, but I guess it's a choice of words. I guess it's how we do it. I guess maybe if something doesn't happen, he can come back because he didn't quit. I don't know. I don't know how this all, uh, how this presidential candidate stuff, you throw your hand in you throw your name in the hat, and if it gets picked, you run a campaign. And so now he's suspending his presidential campaign. Again, not that anybody is shocked, I'll tell you, not by no means. But, for whatever it's worth, this is the other thing that I guess you could say it did trend on Fox in the highlight thingy, but then it went back to the other guy. Just, whatever. I think Israel was up there for maybe a few minutes, but still no mention of that. Still not whatsoever. But I will tell you, speaking of the lovely little, and here is the Fox. Mike Pence suspends his presidential campaign. So there's, there it is in the Mike Fox arena there. But I will tell you guys that there's been a lot of people. I mean, my mom, people outside of my family that has been saying, is this all this, war, just as they were saying, the Trump was going to do it. Now they're saying, and people have said Obama was going to do it. Then people are saying Trump was going to do it. And now people are saying Biden is going to do it with this war to delay or postpone the presidential election. But I don't know what you guys think or what you guys know, but I want to give you, according to what I found, that is not possible. So I have this little text here from the National Constitution Center. And we're going to talk about this, guys. I think this is something that's on everybody's mind. Everybody wants to know about it because I'm hearing this in places that I normally would not hear this stuff from. So people want to know. So we're going to address it. Right? Oh, absolutely. They knew they didn't have a chance. I thought it was kind of ridiculous, in my opinion, for anyone to even put their dang on name in the hat. Yep. And Pence did drop out today. He did indeed. Oh, wow. Oh, that's sad, Watchman. I mean, that somebody's mother passed away. I'm sorry to hear that. That really is horrible. But it is pretty crazy. But yeah, so getting busted into tribes. I don't know what's happening, Watchmen, but it is pretty kind of crazy. Yeah, that's what everybody thinks, Ryan. But let me tell you, there is no way to they cannot stop. Okay, so I'm gonna get right into this because that's what everybody thinks, that there's some kind of war power thingy that they can suspend the election. They can't. Okay, so here is this one. And it says, as Americans battled the sea, we're going to call it the sea, speculation had started that prolonged public health crisis could delay or even postpone this year's presidential event. So how would the Constitution deal with such an unusual situation? In general, a combination of state or congressional actions could delay elections, but not postpone the selection of a president and vice president. The only hard deadline spelled out in the Constitution is the end of a president's term and a vice president's term on January 20th of the year following a general election. That same deadline applies regardless of term limits imposed on the president under the 22nd Amendment. The Constitution text requires that a group of electors, commonly called the Electoral College, chooses the next president. If a majority of the electors fail to agree on a winner, Congress picks the winner in contingent elections held within Congress under the terms of the 12th Amendment. In Article 2, Section 1, the Constitution requires 2 steps in the general election and electoral college process. First, the states and the District of Columbia are required to appoint members of the Electoral College. Each state shall appoint in such manner as the legislature thereof may direct a number of electors equal to the whole number of senators and representatives to which the state may be entitled in the Congress. But no senator or representative or person holding an office or of trust or profit under the United States shall be appointed an elector. Then Article 2, Section 1 delegates the Electoral College deadline to Congress. The Congress may determine the time of chussing, original spelling, the electors and the day on which they shall give their votes, which day shall be the same throughout the United States. The Constitution's 20th Amendment also requires the president and the vice president to end their terms of office on January 20th at noon in the year following the general election. In addition to those basic constitutional requirements, Congress by statute controls when electoral votes are counted at the states and the Congress. The current status reads that the electors of the president and vice president of each state shall meet and give their votes on the first Monday after the second Wednesday in December, next following their appointment at such plane in each state as the legislator of such state shall direct. This year, that day is December 14th, 2020. Okay, guys. So we got this, right? Then there's the Bush Gore thing and everything else. It goes on, it goes on, it goes on. I'm going to come back. If you want me to continue reading it, I will. But we're going to go over here, because there is this lovely little article from CNN. And guys, I don't like CNN. You guys know this. But this here also kind of spells it out as well. It spells it out. Providing legal justification for it. When they shot down those missiles, he sent that explaining why he should legally allow it to. So anytime, okay, so you're saying anytime the U.S. takes a action, the POTUS has to send a letter? All right, providing legal justification. Yeah, maybe, I don't know. But he's asking for the war powers. So that's just, so you're saying from your Arizona representative. Okay. So you're saying that they're saying anytime POTUS, so it's not they're trying to go to war. So it's just because that's not what dang on Times of Israel. I still have the article up. Biden says the U.S. is ready to take further action after striking Iran-linked targets. Sends a letter to congressional letters after ordering strikes on the pair of the sites in Syria linked to Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard following a series of attacks. So I don't know that I go along with that. I mean, he's trying to take it to the next step, according to. Thank you for that comment, though, Rhodey. Thank you. I really appreciate the information, brother. Correct. Okay. Yeah, I don't know, Watchman. I don't know. That is kind of crazy. Over a certain amount of action and troops, the POTUS must get authorization from Congress. Okay, I gotcha. But the thing of it is, guys, this here, sorry. This here, sending a letter for war powers. I mean, if they sign it and say, okay, yeah, you got war powers, he can declare war and not even have to do anything else. Correct? Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, it does clear him up to say that we're at war if he wants to. Nefarious, still keeping an eye on it. Never trust. Okay, gotcha, Brody. Gotcha. All right. Yeah, I agree. But again, I mean, it's still very troubling anytime you hear somebody sending a letter for war powers, right? And I don't remember Trump ever sending a letter over for war powers. I mean, if you have a specific time that you can recall, let me know and I'll pull up an article for it. But let's see. Let me see if I can Google Trump request war powers. Let's see. No, it just says on Wednesday he vetoed the Iran war powers resolution. Is what I'm seeing. So I don't see that he actually sent for war powers. House votes to restrain Trump on Iran war powers. And then it says on February 14th, 2020, the Republican Senate just rebuked Trump using the war, whatever. Trump vetoes Iran war powers resolution. I don't know. Pelosi effort to rein in Trump on Iran renew war powers debate. Yeah, I don't know. Kind of. Okay, so I just looked it up, and I mean, it's really kind of vetoed the war powers is what I got. I didn't get that he requested it, but I mean, I guess maybe same thing. I don't know, but it is kind of. Oh, wow. That's crazy. So did you say something wrong? I didn't even see what you said. Did I miss it? Drop. You have a good night, Walter. God bless you, brother. You know, guys, we're gonna get to the bottom of this. You know, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I just think it's kind of, crazy that Biden sends a War Powers Act asking for war powers. No one talks about it. It goes like it's under the table. It still could be much to do about nothing. But, no one has made a comment that Congress is not going to sign off on it. They haven't come out and said they're against it. Like everybody did with Trump, anything Trump did, they were all against it. God bless, if the man, nope, censorship. I got you, brother. But it's crazy, I mean, to me, that's big news, but nobody's reporting on it. It's no big deal. But we have now everybody talking about the possibility of there being an actual war. And if there is war, are we going to, have this delay in the event? And according to what I've read so far, we cannot. Okay. I'm going to cover this here lovely little thingy here. America has never delayed a presidential event, even during war. This is from CNN. It says the United States is at war with the virus. Donald Trump has described himself as a wartime president. Yet on Thursday morning, Trump suggested delaying the November election because the pandemic complicates the voting process. For the record, Trump has no authority to do that. Beyond that, every preceding wartime president facing the significant challenge of holding an event in the middle of a war, whether against another nation or a virus, has never backed down. 1864, President Abraham Lincoln was in the midst of the Civil War, at the helm of a nation at war with itself. He was confronted by challenging logistics of holding an event with soldiers on the battlefield and dimming hopes for his own reelection. which prompted advisors to suggest a delay, but it happened as scheduled. The event, along with the incidental and the undesirable strife, has done good to Lincoln, said days after winning it. It has demonstrated that people's government can sustain a national event in the midst of a great civil war. During both world wars, expanded mail-in voting of troops on the front lines around the world ensured successful presidential events. This spring, Chicago broke a World War II era record for vote by mail applications, with 118,000 voter requesting ballots for Illinois March primary. President was broken by President Franklin Delano Roosevelt when he ran for a third and the fourth term in 1940 and 44, and inspired the term limits laid out in the 22nd Amendment. Back in 04, there was a concern of a terrorist attack could be timed to disrupt the first federal election after 9/11, and it was reported that the event could be delayed if such an attack took place. But then the National Security Advisor, Condoleezza Rice, sought to shut down speculation, citing the country's precedent. Anyway, we've had elections in this country when we are at war, even when we were in civil war, and we should have the events on time, she said at the time. No one is thinking of postponing the events. Another note, no incumbent president has ever lost re-election during a war. And there you go. So maybe they think you won't lose because you're at war. I can't tell you. I don't know what the thing is, but as you can see, we've been at war many times, and nothing has ever stopped the events. In fact, there's actually laws in the Constitution that really kind of prohibits anything from transpiring to hinder this. So, guys, I mean, in all seriousness, there is oh wow, it didn't come up in chat at all. That's kind of crazy. They must have deleted it as soon as it happened, right? Constitutional Center ordered the blog, did Trump order missile strikes fall under the War Powers Resolution? Okay, so I was just there, wasn't I? I'll have to look at it. Hold on, let me see, because you are probably still there. Let's see, and then I want to hit on this one more time, guys. This is where we're at. Okay, these are the things that they're getting away with that are happening under our noses. Click on it, guys. Come on, This is what we're going to. A passport health. Passport help for a rabies sleever. Come on, guys. Common travel passports for, those sleevers.
I just want to know when rabies has been a vaccine for humans, since in all these decades, there hasn't been a vaccine made for rabies for humans.
And now all of a sudden you have to have one. So what the heck? Yeah, I mean, I want to know. I mean, really, seriously. So, and why we have so many monkeys in the background on this. This is just crazy. Some of the things we get, right? Some of the things. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
And you even got friends in the medical field that said they've never heard of a rabies vaccine for humans.
Right. Absolutely. Okay. So your Constitution Center says on Thursday, President Donald Trump ordered the U.S. forces to launch the missile attack on Syria air base he believed played a part in the chemical warfare attack. Played a presidential military powers this vital national security interest of the United States to prevent and deter spread. Trump said in a statement about the military strike, we're quick to criticize Trump's actions. which they believe they required congressional approval under the 1973 Act. But if Donald Trump acts like previous presidents, his administration will argue the attacks were under his constitutional powers and not subject to prior congressional approval. Okay, so again now, okay, so here we go. We're going back to, so did oh my goodness, I should kill me. That's just too funny. I have to share that. I think it's absolutely crazy, guys. It is absolutely crazy that we have to even put up with this stuff here. I mean, okay, so again, they will put most likely in any event, right? Any event that you want to call it, they're going to freaking dang on allow this to go through. They won't, nobody will come out and say he didn't have the right to do what he did, right? And granted, I'm going to share this here just so that I can pull it up. And nobody's going to say that he didn't have the right. You know, who's going to dare come out and say, you know, our bases were being bombed, right? The bases were being bombed. I'm not saying that the man doesn't have good ground, right? I know, right? I know. We'll come back to that in just a second. Rhodey shared that article. I want to bring it up, guys. Sorry, but we had that come up, right? And so, there we go. Here we go. So you guys can see what he sent. But so here we have them saying that, you know, Trump didn't have the right to do it. They were trying to take away his so-called war powers, if you will. But everybody knows that if you are a sitting president and a situation arises, sometimes you don't have a chance to wait to get congressional approval, right? Now, according to a couple of the articles that I have, he's facing a lot of issues. Biden is, especially, you know, Johnson is saying that he's still going hard after him for this impeachment stuff, that there's, you know, cause and reasons for other things here. And so now if he's impeached, will they say that he didn't have the right to be over there? I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't even guess. But I'll tell you, people can't be afraid to send somebody over there to help our allies. They can't be afraid, and you have to wait for Congress to act. I mean, the president was given commander-in-chief for a reason, right? And so the mere fact that Trump did not and had to fight tooth and nail for anything, it's a miracle that man had anything accomplished while he was in office to begin with, in all seriousness, right? But we have somebody that has a lot of shady things going on, and we won't even get into that stuff. But there's a lot of stuff that's surrounding this man right now and his son greatly, that brings a lot of things into question. And so then here we go, you know, again, Johnson is saying that he's going to pursue this. Let me see if I can pull this other article up for you guys real quick. He's going to pursue this impeachment inquiry. I'm going to read this to you because it kind of just puts it out there cut and dry. He's not stopping, you know? So if he's not going to stop, and there's the this is in question. So, you know, does he have the authority to even maneuver these ships and put us in the position that he has, and even send a letter of declaration that, you know, what he did? I don't know, guys. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that there is a lot happening. Okay, so let me, there we go. I will send my husband this stuff because not everybody wants all their names out there. Everybody knows my last name, knows his last name. Go figure. Anyway, here we have Speaker Johnson.
You better not.
Whatever. Everybody has Speaker Johnson, Biden engaging in cover-up of role in Hunter Biden's dealings. Impeachment probe continues. And this was written this morning. Okay.
And the sausage is still in the oven.
Okay. So this was written this morning at 8 a.m., guys. Okay. So House Speaker said that Biden engaged in an ongoing cover-up and has lied repeatedly about his involvement in the knowledge of Hunter Biden's business dealings, while telling Fox Digital News that the impeachment inquiry against him will continue methodically and without a predetermined outcome. Johnson was elected House Speaker this week. Former House Speaker McCarthy launched this impeachment inquiry against Biden in September. In an exclusive interview with Fox Digital Friday evening, the Speaker said the inquiry will continue under his leadership. We are a rule of law team, and so we have to respect and regard the due process and do this in a way that the founders would have intended. He said, impeachment is an awesome power that Congress has and is not intended to be, nor should it be, used as a political tool to be wielded lightly. Johnson added, we take this very seriously. The Speaker said House Republicans will continue investigating, collecting evidence, and following the truth, and that evidence, wherever it leads, we've not predetermined the outcome of this. We're not prejudged it, he said, but I think everyone can see how it is unfolding, he added. Johnson, a constitutional lawyer and former member of the House Judiciary Committee and House Committee on Weaponization of the federal government, has been involved in the impeachment investigation firsthand. The inquiry is led by the House Judiciary Committee, Chairman Jim Jordan, Oversight Committee, Chairman James Comer, and Ways and Means Committee, Chairman Jason Smith. They've done an exceptional work uncovering the evidence, Johnson said. They've done a great job, and they've been very methodical here. Johnson said the impeachment was designed by the framers of the Constitution to be a very careful and sensitive thing that has to be handled legally and appropriately, and that's what has been done by our chairman. Legal experts have been torn on whether Congress can initiate impeachment proceedings for alleged treason, bribery, or high crimes and misdemeanors that transpired before holding the office of the presidency. The scope of the impeachment inquiry covers the span of time of Biden's vice presidency to the present, including his time out of office. When asked for his theory on the matter, Johnson said, I think I can argue the case that it should extend that far, but I'm not sure that we will have to in this case. We have an ongoing cover-up for the important facts of Joseph Biden is sitting in the Oval Office, Johnson said. We know that he stared right into the camera as president and lied repeatedly. I mean, multiple times. He lied directly multiple times about his involvement and knowledge of his son's business dealings. We all know that now. He added, he is, as the sitting president, he has been involved in covering it up. Johnson said he believes there is an overwhelming amount of evidence that seems to indicate that he was involved and that that they did know about this and that the family did benefit from it. I think we might be arguing about high crimes and misdemeanors, but I'm not so certain bribery is not involved in some way either, Johnson said. And of course, bribery is specifically listed in the Constitution, and so we have an obligation to pursue it. He added, there's a lot of smoke here, and we're going to find out very soon how big the fire is. Johnson, pointing to the records being collected by the House Republicans in an ongoing inquiry, said bank records don't lie. We have receipts now. We're connecting the dots, and I think this will continue in earnest, he said. Comer from Kentucky said collected bank records belonging to the Biden family and continue to do so. His panel is currently collecting subpoenaed personal and business records belonging to Hunter Biden and James Biden. Comer so far has said that his panel has uncovered that the Biden family and their business associates brought in more than $24 million between 2014 and 2019 by selling Biden as the brand around the world. The White House maintains that the Bidens was never in business with his son and had previously insisted he never discussed business with his son or his family. White House officials have blasted the impeachment inquiry against the president as evidence-free political stunt. Johnson told Fox News that there is a lot of Americans who are really anxious to have accountability, but I want to assure everyone that we are working through the process in appropriate and constitutional manner, he said, and I think we'll be positioned to bring accountability to the American people. They deserve it. Meanwhile, Johnson had a pleasant meeting with Biden at the White House this week. He engaged in a personable, Johnson said, that is not a personal thing that I have with him. I have to do my job and he has to do his. And my job is to bring accountability to the people, so I don't make an apology for that. Johnson was on the impeachment defense team for President Trump in 2020. I saw firsthand the Democrats took a sledgehammer to hundreds of years of president, he said, and we are decrying that all along the way and pointing out that they were opening a Pandora's box and really just diminishing the institution for a kind of a political vendetta against President Trump. When asked how he would respond to Democrats casting the continued impeachment inquiry against Biden as a political, Johnson quoted John Adams. I don't expect anything different from our colleagues on the other side of the aisle with regard to this, but as John Adams said, facts are stubborn things and we are going to present the facts and we're going to follow the truth, Johnson said. And so it doesn't matter what the mainstream media narrative is or what the Democrats say. We're going to lay the facts bare for the American people to draw their own conclusions, and I think they'll draw the right ones. Anyway, that was a heck of an article. I got carried away with it because I think I'm actually excited about this. I want the truth. I think everybody deserves the truth and nothing but the truth. So that being said, again, with all of this stuff that is taking place, absolutely. I think he's went downstairs, Rip Curl. Anyway, so Papa went downstairs. Anyway, so that article was from Fox News. I don't know if it was too long of a thing that it didn't post, but my apologies if it didn't. I will try and put it in the comments section so you guys can get to it. Anyway, it is absolutely just kind of crazy. And I think that they should continue the impeachment inquiry. I think if anybody on this planet should be, out of all the presidents that I have had the foresight to witness myself, if anyone deserved it under the Constitution, I think that this is the one that does. But that's my opinion. And and it's not because if he was in there, and didn't have all this hanging over him, I wouldn't say anything. But there's just too much hanging over his head that you can't just turn a blind eye to and ignore, right? Anyway, it is. We are absolutely, and we need to stop sending all this money out. I just saw that they haven't paid. Where did I see it, guys? There was an article. I'm trying to think of where I saw it, but there's an article that talks about them not paying. I think the reservists their bonuses. So if you can't pay the military what you promised them, stop sending the money out. It's just that plain and simple. I think our men and women come first. And if you can't pay your bills here, don't pay them abroad. It's absolutely just ridiculous. Ridiculous. Oh yeah. That's how come we've got all these distractions, all of this distraction taking place. And who knows if that so-called letter was just because, he went and took care of some people that were harassing us over there. I don't know. You can't be exactly. You lose. Absolutely. Nobody else is paying us, right? Usually if you're the muscle, if you're going to be somebody's bodyguard, you get paid for doing it, right? I don't see anybody paying us. but yet we pay everybody, and here we are, and they can't pay their own men. They can't pay their own men. Let me see if I can find that article, guys, really quick, because I want y'all to see it. Give me just a second here, guys. I'll see if I can find it really quick. I might not be able to find it, but if I can, you will definitely get to see it. Okay. So, and I will also put that order for the Trump thing in there too, guys, so y'all can see that as well in the little comment thingy there. But let me go to here so you guys can see this. There we go. All right, guys, I found it. We got it. We got it. We got it. We got it. I hear you. Absolutely, Alien. Keep people distracted. They can't see the truth. Okay, so here we go. Soldiers Unpaid National Guard hasn't paid out thousands of enlistment bonuses. I couldn't remember, guys, exactly where I saw it, but here it is. Soldiers Unpaid National Guard hasn't paid out thousands of enlistment bonuses. It says the National Guard is behind paying at least 9,000 soldiers the bonuses they were promised for signing up, according to Service Component Source, with direct knowledge of the situation with some soldiers and their families telling military.com the payments have been missing for years. So it's not just this year, guys. They're saying it's been missing for years. So the delays are so severe that the Guard officials are tracking an additional 3,900 soldiers who completed their service and left the military without getting any bonus payment, though some may have lost eligibility. I was relying on this money to help with moving into a new place with my wife, one soldier said, while explaining the first half of his 20,000 enlistment bonus was a year overdue. I did my end of things, and this is really bad introduction to the Army, not taking care of people. The bonuses are kept part of the Army National Guard pitch, due part-time service and occasional deployment in exchange for many benefits tied to serving in the military. Hefty enlistment bonuses, often as high as $20,000, are meant to sweeten the deal. So soldiers are typically supposed to receive the first payment of their enlistment bonus after completing initial service training. The Guard considers payment late if more than 30 days have elapsed. Since training was completed and no payment has been made, but the 30-day goal is not codified in any policy, leaving soldiers with little recourse to raise complaints when payments are overdue. Bonuses are usually paid out in chunks, with the second half being dispersed halfway through the soldier's first contract. While 94% of soldiers eligible to receive the enlistment bonus have received it, we are working very hard to reconcile the remaining 6%. So, we can't say that not all of them are receiving their money, but a good portion, right? And I think that absolutely. And they wonder why recruitments are down 60%, right? Because you're not paying your guys. People know people. When it gets out there that the military are not getting their bonuses, it doesn't matter if they're National Guard or regular. They're going to, it's going to cause a bad thing. It is. It's going to give a bad taste in their mouth. They're not going to want nothing to do with it. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. And that is how it goes, right? It's crazy, but it's true, guys. Anyway, it's absolutely just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So, anyway, that's my rant, guys. I told you I had me a good rant. I'm ranting and ranting and ranting. I just think that, if we can't shell out money and all this other stuff to all these other countries, if we can't pay our National Guard themselves the enlistment bonuses they were promised, we can't do that. We can't do the other. We have impeachment probes going to continue. We have unfair action. I guess we'll see how it actually goes, because I haven't heard anybody say they was signing it or wasn't going to sign it. So I haven't heard. So we'll have to wait and see, I guess, until Monday when they go in. I guess in the middle of the night when that came out, because it was last night when I got wind of that. It was late. It was late when Times of Israel posted. And I guess they thought everybody was asleep. They would put it out there and it would be, nobody would notice and it would go unnoticed and that would be it. I don't know. I'm just telling you. Anyway, and now back to the dang on rabies sleeper, guys. I can't get over this. I just really, truly can't. I mean, the typhoid, now this says it's for common travel, guys. Common travel. This typhoid thing, now this basically says right here, it is for international travel. International. So guys, if you're not doing international, you shouldn't have to have that one, right? But this one here, it's the same. It's for common travel. And it says right here, nationwide travel health services. And that's for this. Yes, indeed. But this one here just has me thrown for a loop, guys. I can't even, I mean, seriously, for the life of me, I just can't even begin to think that anybody would even fall for this. But yet, here it is. October 28, 2023, and I am at the actual passport health thing for my area. But it's for all of the United States. We have down here, well, maybe I have to go back to the other page. But it has the Tennessee office on it. Here we go. Brentwood, Nashville, Louisville, other nearby locations. So it's all interconnected. Anyway. And I'm waiting for y'all to go to your doctor's office and see if they have one of those things at your counters to let you go and check it out. But I wonder how many of those people, how many of y'all are ready for this health passport, guys, this travel clinic for your health passports and be able to travel. And, I just don't know, guys. I just don't know what to even think about this. I mean, I'm very frustrated to think that for common travel, we have to have any such thing, to be honest. And I'm curious of when this is going to come about. I am. I haven't heard it or seen it in a bill yet. So I guess my next thing is to do some homework and see what I can find out. But yeah. I hear you, Drop. I hear you, brother. It's actually crazy. And let me see if I can find. Now I heard, and I didn't cover it here, and I'm sorry that I didn't cover it, but I had heard that they dropped a bunch of rabies things in Nashville. See if I can find this. Yeah, here we go. All right, guys. This is crazy stuff. Can't even make this stuff up. All right. I hear you, Red Curl. I hear you, brother. Okay, so here we go. Now, this is for animals, okay, but still. So here we have rabies sleevers to be airdropped across southeastern Tennessee. This was back in September 29th, almost a month ago. Knoxville, The Department of Health had joined forces with the U.S. Department of Agriculture to combat the spread of rabies. Starting in October, the department will be dispersing the rabies sleeper packets from the air along Tennessee borders with North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, and Alabama. Rabies control keeps people, pets, and livestock safe. State epidemiologist John Dunn said our partnership with the USDA Wildlife Services in this project reduces wildlife and project communities. The sleevers will be distributed through a sachet baits coated in oil fish sennit substance. The baits can be found by animals and then swallowed, leading to the development of immunity to rabies. As the number of the sleever animals increase, they will become a buffer to stop the spread to other wildlife, pets, and people. Low-flying airplanes and helicopters will drop the baits over 3 weeks in Tennessee. So apparently they're dropping this stuff in a food form so that the animals digest it, and they've been, controlled, I guess you could say, of the rabies. So my question is why all of a sudden when did we, decide to drop all this stuff? And because to my knowledge, I thought you actually had to have, a shop form of it, but I have no clue, guys. I mean, I think it's interesting how they're putting all of these things in the food now. Now, quote, the food. So maybe you're not even going to have to go in and get this anywhere. It'll just be in our food, right? Absolutely, alien believer. It's just crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy. Anyway, that's my beef today. I'm just curious about this rabies stuff. I can't even let it go. I know it's just crazy. And it's seeing that, Tennessee is actually airdropping it. Absolutely crazy. Let me drop this article because, again, this was something that we didn't have in the Wixit, guys. So all of these articles that I did not cover in the Wixit, they will be in the comment section of this video, guys. So you can look for them when the video ends if you want to read them. Thank you, Miss Helen. God bless you, sister. Skunks and raccoons are healthy there. They have, well, I guess you are so welcome, Boomstick. Hey, how are you, honey? It's just one of those things. I mean, they may have been doing it for years, but it's kind of just, curiosity kills the cat, I guess. But we have them wanting to vaccinate humans now for rabies. And to my knowledge, there's never been one. It's always been, it's not I mean, why would you get that? Just saying, why would you get it? Because the likelihood of you getting bit to get that are slim to none, right? And then you have to get shots in the stomach. And I don't even think that there's a cure for it, right? So now you're going to tell me that you can prevent it? I mean, some of these things just make no sense. And that this is actually something that's going to have, you're going to possibly have to have. Tell her I said hi, brother, and I'm praying for her. That, yeah, you actually have to have this for travel. It's mind-boggling, guys. It really is, to see where we've gone with all of this. Raccoons and rabies, laid in no. Gotcha. It's just crazy, though. Just all of this stuff that's taking place, guys. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I told you this was going to be a rant video. I'm sorry if I've extended the rant too long for your ears, but it's just something that's been going to drive me crazy. all this mess with the war power stuff, and because I don't trust any of them these days. Um, and the bothersome thing is in the guise of it at like so late at night, and again, it says we're ready to go to the next level. So somebody's thinking that there's more, that we're engaging in this war more, as if that's even possible. But yeah, and they're sending more people and all this and that. It's just crazy, guys. And then not to be paying our men, and then it's just been a big. I've just been going and going and going, and I was like, I'm gonna vent, I'm gonna let it go, and then we're gonna be done with it. But I probably won't be done with it because there's just too many unanswered questions, guys. Too many unanswered questions. And I'm just not one of those people that just, I'm not just gonna go along with the punches just because somebody says, well, this is how it's supposed to be, or this is what you're supposed to do. Well, I'm gonna ask why. That's probably not a good trait. But I'm gonna ask questions. And I appreciate Rhodey because he got me answers to let me know that it was because of the action that was taken in the Middle East. So we thank you, Rhodey, for that. So he kind of did. We kind of got answers today a little bit. So we'll see if anything nefarious comes from these War Powers Acts. But he's good, right? God is good anyway. Hey, Miss Murphy. I hope you get to feeling better, sister. We will be praying. We'll have prayer here in a little bit. I'm going to eat me something. Dinner's been ready for a good minute. I just haven't eaten. I wanted to get this rant out so maybe I would be calm enough to eat. And then we'll have prayer. So we will have prayer. Anyway, we got to pray for our military, especially since there's so much.
And guess what I did? I asked Gigi before I got some ice cream, and she said she wanted ice cream, so I'm making ice cream.
Okay, good deal.
And she said she wanted caramel, and I said, okay.
Yes, indeed, he is good. Anyway, so we have a lot of stuff taking place, and we need to lift it and petition it to God. We got to pray for our military men and women. Even though we may not want them over there, they're there, and we got to pray for their protection, and just the whole situation needs prayers, guys. It just needs prayers. I mean, you can see all these people rising up, and it's just crazy, absolutely crazy. And then last night, the pictures of the Grand Central Station, being taken over for a short period of time. Crazy stuff. Crazy times we're in, guys. Crazy times we're in. So anyway, you got a small cold. Oh my goodness sake. Wow. That's crazy, girl. I don't know what you did. They don't like the truth. That's what it is. You brought the truth hard. Crazy stuff. Anyway, I'm sorry, sister. Sorry. Anyway, I love y'all. I do. God bless you all. And thank you guys for joining me for this lovely evening rant. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. I'm going to go eat me something. And thank everybody for coming and dropping by. I hear you, Jeff. I do, brother. I do. Anyway, we're going to go get bite to eat. Then we're going to come back and we're going to have prayer. I hope you'll join me. Thank you guys and have a blessed day.